Almost the entire focus of the media this election has been on the ruling Trinamool Congress and the opposition BJP in Bengal. There has been hardly any focus on the left parties, especially by the national media. Understandably so, because the left parties got zero seats in 2019, 2021, and 2024, the two Lok Sabha elections and one assembly elections, which was in 2021. Now, this is a damning statistic because the Left Front, which is a coalition of leftist parties, had ruled West Bengal for 34 long years from 1977 till 2011 when they lost power to Mamata Banerjee's Trinamool Congress. Now, I spoke to a very interesting candidate from the left, Manosh Kosh, who's 55 years old and teaches film studies in Jadavpur University. Manosh has been in party politics for almost 3 decades, and he told me he has been teaching film studies at Jadavpur University for 20 plus years. Now, Manosh Ghosh is fighting this election from the CPIML liberation. The CPIML liberation has not been part of the left front, which I had said is a coalition of left parties. To understand what the CPIML liberation is and what the other left parties and their politics is, we have to go back in time to 1964 when the original Communist Party, the CPI, Communist Party of India, split into the CPIM. There was another split in 1969 and the CPIML was born. CPIML was founded by Charu Mazumdar, and the party and its members, who came to be known as Naxals, took up armed revolution and they firmly opposed the revisionist, as they said, politics of the CPIM. Now, the CPIML and the CPIM were almost enemies. CPIML considered, ironically, the cadre of the CPIM as class enemies, somebody who collaborated with the class they were fighting against. That armed revolution was quashed in Bengal. Charu Mazumdar died in 1972, and Naxalism and CPIML split into many groups. Now, CPIML Liberation, the party from which Manosh Ghosh is fighting, later on chose the ballot over the bullet. They decided to be part of the democratic process, fight elections, even as they do not disassociate themselves from the ideals of Charu Mazumdar. Does it make them what is loosely called urban Naxals? Now I pose this question to Manosh Ghosh. He was not really perturbed by this term urban Naxals. He said that it is for the BJP to and its ecosystem to come up with these terms because they do not have any heroes themselves. The BJP, according to him, is a fascist force, and to maintain its relevance, the BJP brings down leaders and revolutionaries belonging to other political dispensation. He said, "Would you call Bhagat Singh a turban Naxal because he was a Sikh, or would you call Gandhi a Durban Naxal because he started his Satyagraha movement from Durban in South Africa?" Manosh Ghosh said that the CPIML liberation is fighting both the Trinamool Congress and the BJP, and the communal binary that these two parties have set up, because of which the people's issues like joblessness, issues like Dalit rights, women's rights, these issues are not being talked about in Bengal politics anymore. Now, Manoj Ghosh is fighting from Rajbihari, which is a constituency in South Kolkata, and one of his rivals from the BJP is Swapan Das Gupta. I had also spoken to Swapan Das Gupta, who has an entire plan for Rajbihari, and one of those plans is to create a cafe and culture district in his constituency. When I posed this question to Manoj Ghosh and said that what does he have to say about Swapan Ghosh's Swapan Dasgupta's proposed cafe and culture district, he, in a somewhat mocking tone, said, "What will happen in those cafes?" Now, cafe culture, he said, if you look at Paris, cafe culture is not just going to a cafe and drinking coffee. Cafe culture is also about discussing philosophy, talking politics. In Paris, for instance, there's this long tradition of intellectual discussions in famous cafes. He mentioned Camus, he mentioned Sartre, and he said how those existentialist philosophers, and also many philosophers, writers, journalists after them, have carried on very serious intellectual discussions in such cafes. Mockingly, Ghosh said that what will the BJP's, if it comes to power, cafe district do? Because the BJP as a party is anti-intellectual, according to him. So he said that maybe people will just come, have coffee, and leave. Now, Manosh Ghosh is against, like I said, the ruling Trinamool Congress, but he's also against the BJP, which, according to him, is a fascist force. And this fascism, according to Kosh, is reflected in every walk of life, in every activity of society, even in cinema. Ghosh gave the example of Dhurandhar, and he says the popularity of a film like Dhurandhar, the huge commercial success of a film that is so obviously right wing, goes on to show the damage that has been done to society. He gave an interesting example to show how Calcutta is different, how Bengal's politics and Bengal society is different. He said, even as Dhurandhar was running in Kolkata, another film, a small film called Odammo, which I have written about, it is a film on a young revolutionary communist hero who picks up the gun for a political end. And according to Ghosh, this film, the success of Odammo, even at a time of Dhurandhar, goes on to show that Bengal's politics, Bengal's people are different. And for Ghosh, that is something worth fighting for.